Good morning. Good morning, everyone who's joined. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes because I know people will still be joining. So it's lovely to see who's joined so far, though. Just to let you know that this meeting is being recorded. So if you wanted to turn off your camera, if you didn't want to be as part of the recording, I would encourage you to do that.
Good morning.
Morning. I'm going to start in a few minutes. I'm just going to give some other parents and carers a chance to join us.
Yeah.
A few people are coming in now, so I'll wait for them to be connected. Just to let you know, I'll say it at the beginning, but I'm going to be recording this session. So for parents who aren't able to make it, so if you wanted to turn your cameras off if you didn't want to be recorded.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Morning.
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 Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I'm all new to this. I'm really sorry.
No, you're very welcome to join us. I have said that we are recording this meeting for those who aren't able to make it. So if you wanted to keep your cameras off, I completely understand, because you might not love being recorded.
Thanks a lot.
That's all right. And if you stay on mute throughout the session, apart from kind of if you've got a particular question or you're not sure what I mean by something, and then at the end there will be time for any general questions.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's all right. So I'm going to make a start now. I'll share my PowerPoint. Okay. Just for those who've just joined us, just letting you know that this session is being recorded. So if you wanted to keep your cameras off and be aware that anything that you do say would come up on the recording. So if you could keep yourselves muted unless there's something that I'm saying you don't really understand or you want a bit more clarification about it, and then there will be time at the end for more questions. Okay, so what we're talking about today is pupil wellbeing at Salisbury, and I'm going to be looking at the support available in school so that you're aware of what we do here, and then also things that you can do to help as well. I'm just going to mute everybody just in case I don't realise. Okay, so this session I'm going to be talking about what wellbeing is and why it's important to us all. Then pupil wellbeing at school and how you can support your child. And then I've got quite a lot of kind of signposting you to different resources that are available as well, because there's so much out there, even more so now in the last year, that's really helpful. So it's really useful to know what you can have access to and what you might find helpful as well. So what do we mean by well-being? Well-being is about feeling good and functioning well. It goes beyond happiness, that kind of moment-to-moment feeling really happy about something. It's more about our overall physical, intellectual, mental and emotional health. And good well-being and mental health can create the conditions for positive learning, progress and performance with children. So in terms of how we support well-being at school, at Salisbury, we have a wide offer that all children have access to, and this is the compassionate staff that we have here. We've been working particularly over the last year a lot around children's well-being, our own personal well-being, and how we can support each other and those within the community to and being compassionate, being listening, being empathetic is key to all of that. We offer a broad and balanced curriculum, so we have access to things like art, drama, PE, and that enables children to all have some place within the school that they can shine. And then we have personal, social health and economic education, and we use the Jigsaw programme for that, and all children have weekly lessons with that. We also have the Place to Talk offer, and this is that children can self-refer for this. They can let their teacher know, they can let Esther, who's our Place to Be supervisor, know that they would like some time, and they go either as individuals or in groups, and this is available to all children. We do introduce it from year 2 onwards, but if children who are younger want to access it or staff feel that they benefit from it, we let Esther know and she arranges to do that. Then we use something called zones of regulation. In the autumn term, all staff had training around zones of regulation, and the language that we use about how we feel in different parts of the day, what activities help us to feel different zones, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we have circle time sessions that staff do on a regular basis as well. Every year we have Children's Mental Health Week, and we work with Place to Be on that, and they provide a lot of resources, a lot of activities and ideas for us to do, and it's a really good week in terms of just focusing and making it a priority for that week. And then in terms of thinking about what we offer to children within the curriculum, during times that are challenging, say for example after each lockdown and school reopening, coming back to schools after holiday times, and we really carefully plan and deliver lessons that are looking at well-being. And it's not necessarily we're directly teaching about well-being, it's giving children opportunities to do teamwork activities, to resilience building activities, those kinds of things, and just help them to settle back in. And then we also have a well-being lead at school, who's me, and as well as being a qualified teacher and Senko, I'm also a qualified therapist, and previously I have worked as a play therapist. So and I'm in charge of wellbeing at the school, and we've set up a wellbeing team of staff from all different phases and areas within the team, and we're making it even more of a priority. And then we have some children who might need a little bit more support. We have zones of regulation groups. Then we have Place to Be one-to-one counselling sessions, and this is always arranged with the families and talked about, and so you'd always be aware if that was happening, and it would be a kind of a discussion and assessment process to go through for that. Some children really benefit from things like social stories, and obviously our school dog Kobe is a very popular member of our team, and some children have one-to-one Kobe time with him, and then also one-to-one time with staff for check-ins. And this, it's not just necessarily for children who have like an educational or healthcare plan or an adult who predominantly supports them for their time in school, but it's also other children that really benefit from just those check-in times, either maybe once or twice a day, and knowing that that's a member of staff that they can talk to if they would like to discuss anything. And then for some children, we also have make referrals to West, which is the Wellbeing Emotional Support Team, and they're a newer service, and they are offering mental health support, wellbeing support, some psychotherapy, some work with parents and families, and we've been referring children to that, and so they found that very helpful. We also work with very closely with Brent Inclusion Service, and that can particularly look around behaviour and reasons behind behaviour. Some children have pastoral support plans, just look when we all meet together and we just think about setting some targets for them and help them thinking about what we can do to help them meet those targets. And then also there's CAMS, there's a Child Adolescent Mental Health Service, and it's often referred to the Child and Family Centre, and that's for children who have sometimes it's a mental health difficulty, maybe sometimes it's an assessment process for children who might have some underlying neurological conditions, for example ADHD or autism, things like that. So this is kind of how we support children's wellbeing at school. Then thinking about what helps our wellbeing, and there are kind of key factors to it. So strong family relationships help wellbeing. In terms of the wider community, supportive social networks, whether that's friends, the community that you're part of, whether you're part of a religious group or a social group, that's really helpful as well. Physical activity plays such an important role. And then also enjoying school or further education. And then for adults, that would be like their job or their role within the family. And then thinking about individually, support steps towards helpful thinking, thinking about how we think about things and thinking about things positively is really helpful. How we self-regulate and manage stress are very important as well. And these are obviously quite adulty terms. So in terms of how we talk about it with children, these are kind of 6 things you can do to help you feel good. So you can talk to someone about how you're feeling. You can go outside and get some fresh air. Listen to your favorite music, keep active, run around or play games, eat lots of healthy food and have a good night's sleep. And these things are all really important for our overall well-being, being able to do all of those things. And just so you're aware, I am going to be sending out a copy of this PowerPoint to all parents as well. So if there's, I'm covering quite a lot, so you don't feel you have to take notes or make a note of something and you're worried that you might forget it. It will be sent out to you, so there won't be an issue. Okay, I mentioned about zones of regulation, and so within the zones of regulation there are 4 zones. There's the blue zone where people might be feeling sad, tired, sick, bored, maybe moving slowly, just a bit below par. Then we have the green zone, which is when you're feeling happy, calm, you're feeling okay, focused, and then for children that would be ready to learn. Then we have the yellow zone where it could be that we're frustrated or worried about something. It could be that you're feeling, children are feeling a bit silly, a bit wiggly, a bit excited about something, and there's some loss of control about what we're doing. We're not quite in control of things. And then we look at the red zone as well, and that's thinking about being out of control. So that's often could be described as mad, angry, mean, terrified, yelling, hitting. That's the out of control zone. And so this is a framework that we use to teach students self-regulation and self-control, and we use this language. So it could be that at home you would, if children are finding things difficult, you can say, I'm wondering what zone you might be in. I'm wondering, maybe you're feeling like you're in the yellow zone, maybe you're moving towards the red zone. And so it's useful for parents to be aware that this is the language that we use at school. And so children will be familiar with it more and more so as they go up to school. So in terms of top tips about what you can do, I would say talk to your child about your feelings and how you're doing, because parents often say to me that I ask them how they're doing and what's going on with them, but they don't tell me. And I think if we are modeling that to them, if we're saying, oh, I'm feeling a bit frustrated about this, or I'm a bit worried about this, just using that language, making it become part of your daily conversations, children are a lot more likely to speak about how they're feeling. And then helping them to know that all feelings are okay. There are no feelings that are wrong or bad. It is perfectly normal and usual to have a whole wide range of emotions and feelings about things that are going on. And a lot of the time, particularly with anger, it's about what we do when we're feeling angry that sometimes can cause problems for us and when we are out of control. But the actual feelings themselves are okay. They're fine to have those feelings. If your child, does struggle to feel calm sometimes, something like the 5-finger breathing or squirt technique or square breathing can be useful. So the 5-finger breathing technique is just with your fingers, just breathing in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And that's kind of like that kind of take 10 deep breaths kind of thing, but it's an actual practical thing that children always have their hands with them, so, and we all do too. So that can just be something that you can encourage your child to do, and you can get them to practice when they are calm, and so that when they are feeling perhaps not as calm, then they know that they've got their hands with them. And being able to manage our emotions and our feelings helps us to feel quite powerful, and it's really useful. And another way could be square breathing, and that's maybe with older children, it's kind of breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds, and then holding for 4 seconds and repeating it until they feel more in control. And that's also very useful for adults to have as well. And then in terms of maintaining their well-being, wherever possible, stick to commitments and routines. We know that particularly with the period of school closures and the changes to routines, children can find that quite unsettling. And one of the things we'd really focused on every time we come back to school is getting back into the routines of things. Routines and predictability help us to feel safe. We know that that's not always possible, but when it is possible, that's really useful. And when you say you're going to do something, do it if you can. And then thinking also about managing your own stress levels. In a few weeks' time, on the 21st, I'm going to be running with Miss Armstrong a workshop on adult wellbeing. So you're very welcome to come and join that as well. But if you're able to manage your own stress levels, then you're a lot more able to be present for your children, and you're modeling that to them as well. But then really importantly, don't worry if you don't get it right all the time, because none of us do, and that's fine. Just thinking about COVID-19 and the impact it has had on people's well-being generally. Obviously, it's limited us being able to do some of the things we usually do to feel calm and to feel well within ourselves. And then with lockdowns, that's had a massive impact on people. So just try to, if your children are feeling anxious about it, these are a few things that you can do to help them. So try and answer their questions and reassure them in an age-appropriate manner. And just be aware that they are going to hear about it. It's so much part of our life at the moment, unfortunately, you know, whether that's through the news, whether it's conversations, just in life generally. I think we can't completely protect them from that. So they're going to be exposed to things, but talking about, you know, wondering what they've heard about it, what they know about it. And just remember that you don't need to know all the answers. They might have questions, but talking about it can help them feel calm as well. And then reminding children that family members, teachers and others care for them and are there to keep them safe and healthy. And then encourage them also to take steps to keep themselves and others safe. For example, washing their hands, you know, not getting particularly close to other people. But then also alongside that, reassuring them that they're unlikely to become seriously ill from it. So be aware that your child might want a bit more close contact with you at this time and feel anxious about separation. We know that some children have found that, particularly coming back to school after being at home, and try and provide this support wherever possible. And there's also a book for children. It's a free PDF, and there's a link here that I'll send out with the PowerPoint. And it kind of just explains coronavirus in child-friendly language, and it might be useful for you to read, to think about, you know, how you're going to have conversations around this. And I know we've shared it with parents previously, but kind of a reminder of it. Then the additional resources and support available for parents and carers. So with the return to school, we've always tried to put together quite a comprehensive return to school pack before children come back to school, because, you know, we know there are a lot of questions, you know, sometimes there are changes that you need to be aware of. We try to let parents know as much as possible what's going on for us. And then for some parents who've got in touch about concerns they've got about their children's well-being, about the return to school, we've had meetings and contact to support that transition back to school. And then there's also this link here, which is supporting children and young people with worries about COVID-19, and it's available in a really wide variety of different languages. So if English isn't your first language, this is a really good resource in terms of giving you vocabulary in your home language to talk about as well. Another thing that Place to Be have just started doing, obviously we work really closely with them. We've got Place to Be based in school, and they've just launched Parenting Smart. And it's a new website for parents and carers, and it offers practical advice on supporting your children on a whole variety of things. There's lots of different topics. And there's also a search engine, so you can just kind of search for something that you particularly would like some advice about. Some of them are video clips, and they're not very long, but they're really helpful, just short video clips. Sometimes there's articles as well. And this is at placetobe.org.uk and /parenting smart. And then in terms of further support and ideas, we use a lot of Anna Freud centres, their kind of work on mentally healthy school. We use a lot of their resources and advice, and then I access their training as well, so that we are up to date with everything. They do a lot of work around research about the latest theories about things, and it's just really useful as well. And part of their website has a whole section for parents and carers, and it's got a whole variety of things, and it's a really useful resource as well. And then also for when we're thinking about the younger children, the BBC have this Tiny Happy People like mini website, and there's some videos on there. There's some ideas that are really helpful, fun activities that you can do with your children. And then as children get a bit older, we've this is, I think Ninja is an app, and it's available on Google Play, it's available on Apple, and it's actually free at the moment. It used to be that it was only available through the NHS, through people who are accessing CAMHS or had a higher level of need. But with the onset of coronavirus, they have now made it free to all. And it's an app that helps children to, it gives them ideas about how they can manage their mental health, any anxieties that they have, their general well-being. They can set targets of things that they'd like to improve and work on. And there's little clips and little activities that they can do to use this. So that's a really lovely app that they have available. Also for children who are older and are kind of going towards high school, there's a website called Cooth, and it offers emotional and mental health support for children and young people aged between 11 and 12 years, and it's available up until 10 p.m. every day, and that's found at cooth.com. And we've got somebody, a representative from there, coming to speak to our year 6 children as well, because we want to kind of set them up thinking about that transition to high school. You know, we do a lot here, and high schools do a lot as well, but something that's a crossover and something that they already know that they can access in the in-between time, and then also when they're older as well. It's really useful to have that. And then also thinking about race and mental health and the impact it has on well-being, with the kind of Black Lives Matter becoming more prevalent and more aware, and then things that have been really concerning for us as adults, children are exposed to that as well. And obviously they hear things in the news and they're aware of what's happening in our society. So there's a couple of links here to how to help children handle the news, and then talking to children about race and discrimination from Place to Be is also a really useful article as well. And then thinking about young minds, sometimes, you know, it's nice to talk to somebody who you don't know about things. And this is a kind of an anonymous free helpline, and it's open from 9:30 to 4 Monday to Friday. And it's some signposting, some advice that they can offer, and an emotional support for families as well, which is really useful. And then also, sorry, it's an extra slide I didn't realise I put in there. So there's a parents and carers young minds, and then we have parent partnership and working with Place to Be, and it's weekly kind of parent partnership sessions. So during lockdown, these sessions continued with families, and we have a parent counsellor who will be coming back into school, and she's doing her sessions over the telephone for now. Her name is Suzanne, and she's been, a number of families have found her quite helpful. So I don't know if you've got any general questions. I don't want to kind of, obviously some things around mental health and about wellbeing can be quite confidential, so I'm not going to be answering questions about particularly something that you're concerned about with your child. But if you would like to discuss that with me or with Miss Armstrong, we can both be reached through the school office. You can call them, and if we're not available at that point in time, if you leave a message and we'll get back to you. And you can also email admin at Salisbury to make contact with us. But if you prefer to email me directly, my direct email for parents is inclusion@salisbury.brent.school.uk. So I'm going to stop sharing this now, and if you have got anything that you particularly like to ask me, I will do my best to help you.
Thank you.
You can put a question in the chat as well if you prefer, if you're not able to talk at the moment, or if you would prefer to do that, that's fine as well. I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to do that. And please excuse the noise in the background. I'm just by the playground, so obviously children are playing outside at the moment. Okay, if you don't have any questions, I'm going to end the session now. Thank you very much for joining me. And as I said, we'll be sending out this PowerPoint to all parents, so you'll be getting all the information as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh,